So one of the biggest things that I hear from students is to do with motivation. So students will often tell me, hey man, I don't know what to do. I'm so far behind. I have so much work to do. I just never feel like studying. I have no motivation. I'm always addicted to my phone. How can I force myself to study? How can I push myself to study when I have no motivation? What do I do? And often it's not that they have zero motivation at all. Deep down, they really, really want to study. They want to get good grades. They deep down, they want to. But it's that their motivation is so inconsistent. Some days they're so focused, they're pushing themselves hard. Other days, their motivation just disappears and they don't know what to do. So what I want to tell you in this video is that after I talk to a lot of these students and I really dive deep on their situation, what I find is that it's not that they struggle with motivation. It's not that they don't care about their studies. It's not that they're lazy. Their minds are just overwhelmed, which is what I want to get to in this video. So I did a poll on my Instagram the other day, and I asked them, which of these situations resonates with you most? And the majority of students said that they resonated with the feeling of being overwhelmed when they went to study. So the reason you're not motivated, because deep down in your mind, you are motivated. You want to study, you're ambitious, you want to get good grades, you want to achieve your goals. But it seems like there's some part of your mind that's sabotaging you, that's taking away your motivation, that's making you run to your phone, that's making you addicted to your phone. How is this possible? And it's because you're 100% right. There is a part of your mind sabotaging you. So let me explain. You might not think you're overwhelmed, by the way, but when I mention it, overwhelm can be a bit subtle. So let me explain. So basically, when your mind is overwhelmed, it literally shuts off the motivation part of your brain. So it's not that you struggle with motivation. It's that there's a part of your mind that wants to run away from studying. There's a part of your mind that sees studying as a threat, as danger. And when that part of your mind sees studying as a threat, to protect you, it shuts off the motivation part of your brain. It shuts off the thinking part of your brain. That's why you literally your mind goes blank when you sit down to study. That's why you don't feel like studying. That's why you feel like running away, because your brain is in survival mode. Your brain doesn't care about getting good grades. It cares about protecting you. And if it sees studying as a danger, it's going to prioritize that. Okay, so this seems a bit spooky. Like, how is it possible? All right, so let's say, for example, let me give you some of the symptoms. If you sit down to study, some symptoms students have told me: their palms get sweaty, their chest gets tight, they get negative thoughts, they worry about the past, they compare themselves to other people, they feel so overwhelmed, they feel so agitated, they feel so pulled to their phone, their brain goes blank, they get randomly tired. All these things are just symptoms of your brain being overwhelmed. When your brain is overwhelmed, it shuts down and it literally feeds thoughts into your mind to make you want to run away because it's trying to protect you. The survival part of your brain doesn't directly tell you, hey bro, studying is dangerous, let's get out of here, because you wouldn't listen to it. So it gives you these other thoughts. For example, hey, now's a good time to go onto my phone. Now's a good time to do anything but studying. So let me give you an example here. There's a student who I've helped this semester, and she just got her report card back. Her name's Kuntia. She just got her report card back and she got B's and A's average. And the thing is, last semester, she got E's average. And so she came to me, and the reason she got E's average was because she told me she would sit down to study, and after about 10 minutes, she told me her brain would literally tingle. She would feel so overwhelmed, she would freeze, and she would go to her bed, she would feel suddenly tired, she would rather sleep, she would rather scroll on her phone. And she didn't know what was going on with her. She thought maybe she's just too dumb, she's not, ready to do these difficult subjects. She kept thinking, how is everyone ahead of her? She thought she was lazy. Basically, she thought there was something wrong with her. She thought, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? And she was in a lot of pain. And after we dove deep on her situation, we found out that she was under a lot of pressure. She had massive expectations from her parents. These exams were so important for her future. If she failed, she would literally be behind everyone else. She was constantly comparing herself to other people in her class. Past failures were constantly playing in her mind. So all these things basically were overwhelming her to the point where her nervous system would literally shut down when she sat down to study. She would go into freeze mode. And so when this happens, of course you can't think. Of course your motivation goes offline because your brain's trying to protect you. So what was it trying to protect her from? Basically, the danger was nothing to do with like survival. It's not like if she studied, she was going to die or something. It was actually to do with social survival. So our brains survive us in two ways. They keep us alive, like physically, they keep our bodies alive, but they keep us alive socially. That's why if people insult you, it can feel so painful because it can feel like the tribe is literally rejecting you. And so our brain is designed to protect us from basically social danger. So when she studied, it was got nothing to do with the fact that she was in physical danger. It was to do with the fact that she was in social danger. If she pushed really hard, if she studied and she failed, it would really massively, her parents would look down on her. Everyone around her would look down on her. It was basically a threat to her social survival. Her brain was associating studying with danger because if she studied, it would remind her that she could potentially fail. So when she actually started to work at the root level and actually rewire her patterns and start to see studying as safe again, suddenly she could effortlessly study for hours in a day. And she literally told me that she actually started to enjoy a lot of subjects that she previously hated. And she ended up doing amazing on her exams simply because she got out of this survival mode, or she made significant progress getting out of it. So this is the case for most students. They're in this survival mode, and that's why they're not motivated. When you come out of survival mode, motivation comes naturally. So what is this survival mode? Basically, if you know anything about psychology, there's something called fight, flight, or freeze mode. So animals, whenever there's a danger, there's 3 ways that they protect themselves. Number 1 is fight mode. If a deer is literally cornered by a lion, first he will try to fight. If the fight fails, he will flight. Flight means run away. He will try to run away from the lion. If flight doesn't work and the lion is literally on top of him, then to protect the deer from feeling extreme pain, the body literally shuts down. It stops all feeling. It stops everything. So this is the case with studying. If your brain sees studying as a danger, like I said, from fear of failure, overwhelm, comparison, threat to your identity, threat to your social status, whatever it might be, your brain will go into one of these modes. So fight mode, for example, fight mode is that mindset of like, yesterday I barely studied, today I'm going to study for 12 hours, I'm going to push through. It's that feeling of anger, that feeling of regret, that feeling of like aggression. Flight mode is that feeling of wanting to run away, multitasking, doing everything but studying, scrolling on your phone, jumping between a million tabs. That's like the classic procrastination. And then freeze mode is one of the most common that I've seen in students. It's where your mind literally goes blank. You feel numb. You don't know what decision to do next. You feel so tight in your chest. You get randomly tired out of nowhere. So if you resonate with any of those symptoms, high chance you're in survival mode. So you have to figure out what it is your brain is trying to protect you from. And I guarantee once you actually get out of this and you change your patterns, motivation, focus comes effortlessly. I know because I used to live in survival mode all my life. My entire day, I would go to university and I would be scanning the environment for danger. Not just physical danger, but I was thinking like, okay, that guy's better than me. That guy's better than me. That girl doesn't want me. This thing like this, constantly scanning the environment as if it was like a social hierarchy. Because it was. To my brain, I was in a social hierarchy. Failing didn't mean like, oh, I hit an obstacle in my path, I'm going to try again. Failing literally meant a threat to my social standing. So it was dangerous. Studying became dangerous because studying meant potential exhalation from the tribe. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, comparison, fear of failure, all these things can put your body into survival mode. It can make your brain think studying is a threat. So how do we rewire this pattern? How do we change this? Like I said before, find out deep down what it is you fear. Often it's to do with not being good enough. It's a fear of being seen. It's a fear of being behind everybody else. It's basically feeling like you're not good enough in some other way. But what you can do as well is you can begin to relax that survival response. So let me give you the example of freeze mode. If you're stuck in freeze mode, you're stuck in your thoughts. You're stuck in thoughts about the future. You're stuck in thoughts about the past, those two things. And to be focused, you have to be in the present moment. Your thoughts have to be about the work you're doing. Your attention has to be on the work you're doing. If you're stuck in the past thinking about how you always failed, how you were so, how you failed these exams and you're going to fail again, then your body's going to think, oh no, we might potentially fail again. This is dangerous. Let's shut down so we don't approach this danger. Or your brain is going to go into the future. Oh, we're going to fail again. We're going to be so far behind. Everyone's going to, see how far behind we are. So if your brain is going into the future and the past constantly, then you can't stay in the present moment, which is what's necessary to focus. So any activity that can take you into the present moment can begin to help you get out of this survival mode. So an activity that helped me so much get out of this survival mode was meditation. Because meditation allows you to look at your thoughts as an observer. So I would be in public, for example. I would go to a party, and a party was something that triggered my comparisons so badly. For example, my survival mode so badly. I would go to a party and I would think, wow, all these people, they're so much more confident than me. No one wants to talk to me. I'm boring. I would go into this freeze mode. I wouldn't be able to talk. I wouldn't be able to be naturally myself. Growing my YouTube channel actually spiked my survival mode so badly. When I reached about 20,000 subscribers, every video felt like a threat to my potential survival. Oh no, what if this video does so badly? What if I get negative comments? What if people see that I'm useless and I have nothing interesting to talk about? So I had this period in 2024 of about 6 months where I really struggled to post videos. And it wasn't because I was lazy. It wasn't because I lacked motivation. It wasn't because I didn't care. It's because my body would go into survival mode every time the camera appeared in front of me. My chest would literally get so tight, my throat would constrict, and I couldn't speak. I felt like I forgot all my ideas. I felt like I'd lost my ability to speak. And it was because I was in survival mode. My brain didn't care about getting grades. My brain didn't care about achieving success on YouTube. It cared about keeping me alive. It cared about, and if I got rejected by the tribe, if other people saw me negatively, it meant I would die. At least according to my brain, because the brain is wired to live in a social environment, if that makes sense. So basically, I was addicted to validation. It's that simple. I was addicted to the validation of other people. I was constantly comparing myself with other people. One compliment would make me so high. One insult would destroy my day and ruin me. I had so much fear. I was constantly living in this state of fear, constantly living in this survival mode, which destroys your motivation. How can you think about higher things like your career and your grades when you're stuck at this low level of constantly worried about survival, constantly worried about how others perceive you? So when you're in this survival mode, motivation is impossible. Okay, so how do we get out of this freeze mode? Like I said, get into the present moment. Meditation helped me so much. Because let's say, for example, I would be at a party and I would scan around me. Threat, 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 threat. I would notice, okay, my brain, my thoughts are telling me these are threats. But I understand that this is not me speaking. This is literally just the survival part of my brain trying to protect me. And I would be able to distance myself from those thoughts, see them as like passing signals that I don't have to listen to. And the thoughts would begin to go away and they would begin to die. The less importance you give to certain patterns of thoughts, the more they dissolve and slowly go away. So the more I meditated, the more I did some other practices, the more I applied it into my daily life, the more I noticed that these intense patterns began to slowly dissolve. So that's one thing. And the other thing, like I said, is getting to the root cause. What is your brain and body actually scared of? Understanding your patterns, understanding the triggers, what causes you to enter this mode. Because a big thing that students struggle with is consistency. They are motivated for a few hours, a few days, but their motivation is like balancing on a tightrope. One small mistake, one small thought that reminds them that they're behind, and they fall off completely. So if your motivation is so fragile, you're going to fall off easily. So what point was I making with this? Consistency, motivation. Oh yeah, understanding your triggers. So understanding your triggers, understanding your patterns, understanding what causes you to enter this survival mode, that's a big thing. Okay, so what can we do if you're in freeze mode? How can you snap out of this freeze mode and begin to study? So I'll give you some fixes you can do if you're literally in freeze mode. So like I said, you want to get out of the future, get out of the past, and bring yourself into the present moment. So there's two bridges. Okay, this is just what I personally do, by the way. I'm not a professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. I'm not going to say this helps you. I'm just going to say what I do. So for me, I use two bridges to come into the present moment, to come out of my thoughts and come into the present moment. Number one is my breath. So I literally just observe my breath. And the other thing is my body. I bring myself into my body and I feel the sensations in my body, like my feet on the ground or something. So when I bring my attention to these places instead of my thoughts, it allows me to come into the present moment out of that storm of thoughts. So that's why meditation can help you, because it can help you apply that in real life. So here's two tips I'll give you on how to actually come out of this overwhelm. Because I said before, the reason you struggle with motivation is because you're overwhelmed. Your thinking center goes offline, your motivation center literally goes offline. How to stop feeling overwhelmed? Number one, if you're in freeze mode, you can relax your body, because when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're in survival mode, your shoulders are going to go up, your jaw is going to get so tense. So if you just kind of relax your jaw, relax your shoulders a little bit, that sends a signal to your brain, hey, we're not in danger. The other thing is to actually make your exhales longer than your inhales. So if you're feeling that frozen state, then just breathe. And extend your exhales. When you extend your exhales, it tells your body, hey, we're safe, we're not in danger. So with every exhale, you can like imagine your shoulders, you can like literally drop your shoulders, feel your jaw relaxing. And that will at least calm that response a little bit. And the other thing I want to mention is, or like I said, feel your body. So you could literally like feel your feet on the floor, focus on the sensations in your feet, that kind of thing. That's what I like to do. And again, these are like temporary fixes. They're going to get you out of that mode for a little bit. But unless you get to the root cause and you understand why it's happening and you rewire the pattern at the root, it's going to keep coming back. But hopefully this gives you some relief to at least, begin a study session or something. Another tip I'll give you, by the way, is often overwhelm is simply because you just don't know what step to take next. A big common thing in students who have this freeze response is they know what they need to do. They have a list of tasks. They know exactly what they need to do, but they can't seem to decide what to do next. It's so overwhelming. And that's why you escape to your phone, by the way. Many students think they're addicted to their phone, but the phone is simply safety. When your brain is overwhelmed, when your body is overwhelmed with this feeling of overwhelm, it's, by the way, okay, I know I'm going on many tangents here, but the way to know if you're actually overwhelmed is to feel into your body. Because whatever happens in your mind also happens in your body. If you're feeling overwhelmed in your mind, you're also going to be feeling overwhelmed in your body. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, look into your body. Chances are there's an uncomfortable feeling in your body that just feels so uncomfortable. Maybe you have a tight chest, maybe your stomach is feeling so bad, maybe your face is hot. If you're feeling uncomfortable in your body, that's a pretty big sign that you're in this survival mode, that you're overwhelmed. Okay, so what was I saying just now? I know I like to go on many tangents. Okay, so you're overwhelmed and you don't know what decision to make next. You've got like a massive task list, you've got all these exams, you've got this you got to do for your parents, you don't know what to do next. There's too much going on, and that's not your fault. Like I said, the survival part of your brain, it wants to protect you. It doesn't want to do those decisions, it wants you to run away. So when you're feeling uncomfortable in your body, what does your brain do? It chases dopamine, because dopamine feels good. Your brain goes into this mode where it's like, oh my gosh, we feel so uncomfortable right now. Give me dopamine, give me dopamine. Where's the dopamine? So you start watching motivational videos to push you. You go into your phone and it gives you a temporary escape. Your phone floods your brain with dopamine, which temporarily hides that feeling of overwhelm. And you feel this relief. You feel so like you're saved, like everything's okay. But it's an illusion. You're not actually safe. You're just escaping. The feeling is still inside you. Your body is still in this survival mode, but you're suppressing it with your phone. So every time you're in the survival mode and you escape to your phone, this is the scary thing, it gets stronger. It tells your brain, hey, going into our phone helped because we escaped the danger. So it starts to learn that phone equals safety. And so now you get even more addicted to your phone. Many students tell me that they pull out their phone and start scrolling without even thinking. It's just become so mindless. And that's because your brain has learnt phone equals safety. So that's a big way that your body likes to escape. Everybody has their own way of escape. A big thing is daydreaming. You start thinking about thoughts that give you dopamine, right? And so your brain goes into these fantasies. So what point was I making with this? So you don't know what decision to make. Your mind feels so overwhelmed. So the thing you can do is to just get your thoughts down on paper. If you write down everything you have to do and you just pick one thing to do, one small tiny task, it can begin to get you out of that freeze mode. Because the freeze mode leaves you frozen, but action can get you out of it. So here's one thing I like to do. At the beginning of my days, I like to write down what are my priorities for the day. 1 to 3 priorities. And so whenever I'm in this, if I enter this freeze mode and I don't know what decision to do next, I just look and I see, okay, there's only 3 things I really need to do today. Let me just take action on one of these. Let me literally just open the page. Let me literally just write one sentence. And often that momentum, that action can begin to take you out of this freeze mode. Because freeze is like, you can't move. And if you take action, you start to tell your brain, hey, we're safe. So those are some fixes you can do today to literally get you out of freeze mode. But like I said, it's not going to be an instant fix. It's not like you're going to do these tips and you're going to be out of freeze mode today. Retraining your your survival mechanism, escaping from your work, is a pattern you've developed over maybe a decade. So it's not going to go away overnight. In the case of Kuntia, in about 2 months, she managed to make a massive improvement in this area. So it's possible, but you need to put in the work. You need to understand your own emotions. You have to dive deep. You have to understand what your patterns are, and you've got to practice. You've got to practice, like I said, meditation. You've got to practice these techniques to calm your body. A tip, a hack is not going to save you. There's a common myth students think where they think, maybe this is the video that's going to save my life. This one video here, maybe it's going to give me the system. Maybe it's going to give me the tip that's finally going to make me stop procrastinating. But no such tip exists. No such hack exists. You have to put in the work. That's the brutal reality. You have to put in the work to rewire your brain, but it's 100% worth it. If you can get out of survival mode, effortless motivation comes. Effortless focus. I don't have to motivate myself anymore to do work. I don't watch YouTube to motivate myself. I don't have to push myself. I don't feel like running away as often. It's because I've calmed that survival response. I understand that it's not something I have to listen to, and it's gotten weaker and weaker and weaker. So hopefully that video helped. Hopefully this video helped. Hopefully it gave you some hope that you're not lazy. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You can get out of this. And I guarantee in 95% of students' situations, this is what they're dealing with. It's such a common thing. This is why I talk about this on my channel so much. I see some comments, they say like, bro, stop talking about this. But it's so important because students don't realize that like all students' problems, laziness, lack of motivation, lack of discipline, they're all surface level symptoms of the deep problem. The root cause is that your brain thinks studying is dangerous. That's why you can't focus. That's why you struggle so much with procrastination. That's why you feel stuck. So if you try to fix the surface, if you try to push yourself with motivation, if you try to force yourself with willpower, it's only going to work temporarily. You keep falling back and you lose trust in yourself. You think, what's wrong with me? It's got nothing to do with your study techniques. It's the fact that you don't understand what's going on underneath. So hopefully this video gave you some hope. Let me know if it resonated with you, if anything helped you. But apart from that, see you later.